At 3 a.m., under a roof that leaked salt and rain, I missed my flight to fix a stranger's radio. 16 years later, his night watch network pulled my brother out of black water. Listen close, because the smallest turn of a green ceramic knob can change the course of a life. My name is Vale. I'm the kind of man who keeps spare screws in his wallet and apologies in his throat. By trade, I design signal paths, how sound travels without getting lost. By habit, I overcorrect. My flaw? I measure control in decibels and forget that darkness has its own rules. I was stranded in Gray Harbor. Storm delays, the last flight home dangling by a thread. At 2:47 a.m., the loudspeaker coughed out a delay that sounded like defeat. I tucked my boarding pass into my book and wandered outside toward the South Jetty where the wind kept its promises. That's where I found him. A fisherman in a wool cap, radio guts open on a bait table, wires like seaweed. He had hands that remembered storms and a jaw that never bragged. "Name's Arl Morrow," he said without looking up. Her voice is stuck. Weatherban's a ghost. On the bench lay a green ceramic tuning knob, cracked, glazed with years. He held it the way some men hold a wedding ring. "Flight?" he asked. "Very late," I said. He nodded at the radio. "This is later. I should have walked away." My phone read 3:01. My gate read final call on the board. But the wind smelled like diesel and brine, and the radio, half alive, sounded like an old dog asking to be let in. I leaned over the circuit. "Your ground's floating. Antenna leads bruised. Who taught you to solder?" "A woman on Channel 16, he said. "Retired operator." She said, "Talk less, listen better. Been trying since." I had no cash, no food to offer. What I had was knowledge, and that night, it was the only currency that mattered. "Give me your iron," I said. He passed it over. The tip was tired and honest. I bridged the ground, cleaned a corroded trace with the edge of my boarding pass, a ridiculous tool that worked anyway, then rewired the antenna with wax twine steadies to keep strain off the joint. I replaced a burnt fuse with one from my own kit. When the radio woke, the room woke with it. A hush that wasn't silent, the kind of quiet you earn. Errol looked at the green knob in his palm. "She's yours," he said. "No," I said, "you'll need it." He pressed it into my hand anyway. "Then hold it for me till the next storm." In the distance, my flight rolled back from the gate. I didn't run. I watched my connection leave without me, a silver promise disappearing into wet cloud. I took the fine for missing my flight. My boss took the rest. When the sun came up, I had a canceled itinerary, a lost job, and a green knob in my pocket that smelled faintly of the sea. What did Errol have? A working radio, and a plan that sounded like a prayer. I want to build a night network. Quiet check-ins, small boats to small boats, because the big ones sleep with their lights on. We don't. "Who'll join you?" I asked. "The ones who've been alone long enough to know the cost," he said. I nodded, then wrote my number on the back of a ration sticker from his tackle box. "Call if you need schematics," I said. "Or just call." I left Gray Harbor with a duffel bag, an empty calendar, and the strange certainty that I had done the right thing in the wrong direction. Years blurred. I built small things for other people's big machines. I rented a room over a bakery that smelled like mornings even at night. Sometimes, when bills hummed louder than dignity, I'd roll the green knob between thumb and forefinger and hear that radio click. A single syllable of hope. Errol called once a month. Not to ask for money, to ask for maps. How signals bend over water. How fog eats distance. How a ferret choke humbles the hiss. He failed in public. Cables snapped, masts buckled. A storm took 3 antennas and his pride. He learned to lash with wax twine instead of cheap plastic ties because salt laughs at plastic. He learned that night isn't silent. It's layered. Engine thrum, gull chatter, distant thunder, and somewhere in there, a human voice that doesn't want to die. He gathered allies like lanterns. Moria Sky, a widow who could splice a line faster than grief could break it. Dax Otero, a diver who smelled like copper in winter. Lynn Noor, a nurse whose brother was out past buoys too often, who taught Errol how panic sounds before it speaks. They set a ritual. 3:03 a.m., 5 seconds each, no greetings, just call signs and breath. Brine 5, clear. Skiff 1, clear. Trawler 7, clear. And then the quiet settled, full of listening. The harbor master laughed. "You're playing hero," he said, writing down fines that made Errol's hands tighten. A big boat captain sneered. "You want safety? Buy size." But the small boats kept coming. The ones without lawyers, the ones with children's names stenciled on their hulls because that's what they could afford. I shipped Arel a box of cheap, decent parts. Filters, diodes, a soldering station that didn't wheeze. I drew him a handbook, pictures, not math, on paper that forgives wet hands. The handbook had rules. Never drown an alarm with a song. Always say the name before the need. If you break, break gently. If you call for help, leave a space for the answer. Arel posted a copy at the bait shop with a nail he didn't trust but hammered anyway. Then the sea showed its teeth. Year 9. A squall erased the horizon. A kid out on a borrowed skiff didn't come back at midnight. His mother's voice broke on channel 16 like a plate. Errol's network found him by breathing, listening for the wrong wind, triangulating the almost of a voice. They pulled him up blue and angry, alive enough to swear. The harbor master stopped laughing. The night network grew, not famous, just present. They hosted quiet drills at dawn. Find the smallest broken thing and fix it before coffee. Errol insisted on the green knot, a little emblem of waxed twine tied to each radio, a promise looped into itself. But growth made enemies. A vendor tried to sell them expensive nonsense dressed as safety, and when Errol said no, the man called him reckless. A city inspector, Mr. Klein, cited them for unlicensed cooperative communications. Errol visited the office with a hat in hand and a logbook of saves in the other. Klein flipped pages like they were receipts. Rules are rules. Errol called me that night, the radio wind loud as prayer. "I'm tired, Eden," he said. "Tired of my boots always being wet and my mouth always being polite." "What did the old operator teach you?" I asked. He took a breath. "Talk less, listen better." "So do that," I said. "Listen to what the sea wants from you next." There was a silence. Then, "I want to build a shoreline relay, battery-backed. If the main band dies, we break the fog with whispers." We built it. In the blueprint, I hit a tiny doodle of the green ceramic knob in the corner for luck. We tested at 3:03. Clear, clear, clear. And then life went on with the ungrateful grace of weather. 16 years after that night at the jetty, my phone rang at 3:01 a.m. It was Lynn Noor. "Eden," she said, voice tight. "Your brother's boat, the Finch, it didn't check in. Last ping near the shoreline. Radio probably drowned." I was already standing, already holding the green knob without noticing. My brother Caleb had inherited our father's laugh and none of his caution. He fished weekends as if the sea wanted his name on a ledger. I drove to Gray Harbor with the speed of a bad idea and the focus of a good one. At the dock, the night network burned like a quiet constellation. People and gear, coffee and maps. Errol stepped out of the shadow, older, beard salted with years. He didn't recognize me at first. I'd grown a winter and a worry since we last met in person. I held out the green knob. He blinked, then smiled the way a lighthouse smiles. Steady, not showy. "You held it till the next storm," he said. We got to work. No speeches, no fuss. Errol assigned posts with the ease of a tide going out. Moria on the west slip with a handheld and a stubborn heart. Dax at the south buoy. Wetsuit half-zipped, mouth a straight line. Lynn at the clinic radio, listening like a surgeon listens to blood. We tuned down. We called softly into the number 2 band, under the weather reports and the gossip. We left space for answers. What came first was wind, then hull noise, then the almost of my brother's voice, a syllable like a cough. Fin, static, then a clatter like someone dropping a wrench into a sink full of fear. "Say your name before your need," Arel said into the mic, as if teaching a child how to ask for water. A heartbeat. Then, "Finch, cold, port line fouled, taking on." "Leave a space," Arel whispered to us, a hand on all our shoulders at once. We waited. The sea answered with coordinates disguised as nothing, a glitched echo off the shoal. Now the small knot. 2 boats with Finch in their names sat within 10 miles. Little Finch and the Finch. And the first responder, a new volunteer, turned toward Little Finch out of habit. Wrong boat, wrong line, wrong life. I looked at the green knob in my palm, felt the chip that matched a crack in my chest. "Listen for his laugh," I said, wild and precise. "He laughs when he's scared. There's a whistle in it. missing tooth from when he fell off our porch. Moria closed her eyes like people do when the dark asks for trust. She dialed the handheld down until the room's own hum was louder than the sea. There, under the wind, a laugh that wasn't happy. A whistle on the back edge. South Shoal, she said, not west. Dax dove, water folding over him like a door. Errol split the channel, fed it through the shoreline relay we'd drawn in pencil years ago. He spoke to my brother the way a steady man speaks to a skittish horse. Caleb, he said, say your name. Caleb Vale. Good, now say what you have. A fouled port line and a shame I don't have time to feel. Good, throw me the shame later, cut the line now. Metal screamed, the boat lurched. Silence came like a held breath learning how to leave. Then, free. Turn your bow to the bruise, Errol said. Come home crooked. We'll fix straight later. Dax surfaced, fist up, then reached for the gunnel like it was a promise. Lights blinked in a rhythm that made sense to everyone and meant we did it to me. Errol exhaled. The room let go. I opened my fist and realized I'd been holding the green knob so hard it had left a crescent in my skin. On the dock, when my brother stepped onto wood instead of sky, he looked smaller than his voice. He hugged me with the frantic relief of a man whose body is surprised to still be invited to the party. He whispered, "You never let go." "I did," I said, smiling. "You just didn't fall far." Errol came over, hands in his pockets like always. "You kept your promise," I said. He shrugged. "We kept ours." He glanced at the green knob and shook his head. "You can give that back now." I reached out, then stopped. "No," I said. "It belongs to the water, and to whoever needs it next." I walked to the relay box bolted to the pier and set the knob on top, where the first light of morning would find it. No plaque, no speech, just a small, stubborn thing earning a place in the world. The harbor yawned. Gulls argued like old couples. Someone dropped a thermos. Someone laughed for real this time. The sea lay there, huge and unbothered, as if it had never tried to eat us. We stood in that humble, after kind of quiet. No sermons, only a pier, a cracked green knob catching sunrise, and a network of voices that knew how to leave a space for the answer.